friend.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for letting me telling you a little bit about my story about electric ferry in Stockholm archipelago. I've been in the shipping business all my life, and in this commuter service for 21 years. And since 2012, on behalf of the region, we have been as an operator for them. And you come to the next slide. Next. And we are operating this line, as you can see. This is the inner water on the saltwater side in Stockholm. We go from the city and eastwards and north up. So you can see the total length up from the city up to Myrsten is about 1 hour. And from Nackastrand, which is on the southeast part of the map, it takes about half an hour into the city. And you take the next slide, you can see the line that we're going. You see the development of the amount of passengers is we started 2005, I think, to count a little bit more, and it was 100,000 passengers, and to 2020 1.8 due to the pandemic. You see we have not doubled, but 50% up every year since we started. So probably have been 2021 would have been 2 million if we not have had the pandemic, and we have less passengers, and also the restriction we halved the amount of passengers on the vessels, so we could not spread the pandemic on them. And of course, a lot of bikes and wheelchairs and also strollers. That is very, very favorable to go on the ferry. Next slide. And here is the electric ferry that we built. That's how she looked 2013 when she arrived to Stockholm. And you can see also the challenge we have that in the winter time we have to go in some broken ice on the route. And we have speed limits. We have 7 knots, we have 12 knots, and we have 8 knots on the line. And you can see we take 190 passengers. That was the region that put up that, and 30 bicycles, wheelchairs, and of course with the gangway that is very wide, so we can take wheelchairs and also the electric wheelchairs without any problem. A lot of people bring their bicycles, so that was also a big challenge to have a big forecastle so you can have all the bikes on board. And also in the summertime you can sit outside on the top of the vessel. And she is made in reinforced glass fiber. So it's her weight is about 40 tons, including batteries, which makes her not take so much consumption. And here you can see the electric side of the vessel. From the left, we have the connection to the power station. In land, it's 3 times 64 amps that we have. And we have the chargers on board the vessel because we didn't exactly know where we would traffic the vessel in the region. So we can charge wherever there is a blue box on the shore, we can charge the vessel. And then we have 2 setups of batteries, 500 kilowatt hours. They weigh about 5 tons. I wouldn't tell you how much they cost, but they are expensive, or they were at least. I think they're a bit less expensive today. And then we have frequent converters and 2 electric motors with direct connection to the propeller shaft. So no gearboxes there and no losses. And then if there is some failure somewhere, we have 2 small diesel generators on board just to be sure that we can bring, or when we are transporting the vessel to a shipyard far away or any other situation that is maybe needed, or if it's heavy ice and the batteries are not strong enough. Next slide. And here you see we have, as I told you, we have the high flexibility. The cables that we are charging, which is our deckman or deck girl, can easily go ashore and put them and connect them. And we can also choose different amperes depending on how much power there is on the shore side. And here you can see the consumption from 7 knots up to 9-10 knots. We are normally operating in this region between 7 and 9 knots. So you see the effect that we needed between 50 to 75 kilowatts consumption on the vessel. And this is, of course, crucial to have batteries enough for running the whole day. As you see, the maximum power is 160 kilowatts 2 times. And that is when we are forcing heavy ice. We need that consumption. But normally we run under 100 kilowatts. 50 kilowatt each engine. Next. And then we come to the experience. The passengers really feel it's high comfort because there's no noise on board, and of course no exhaust gases. And people think, why are we running so slow? And we say we are running 7 knots. It's a speed limit there, but we're only going 4, they think, because it's so quiet. The whole system is very reliable. We maybe have bought a little bit too expensive things, but as we are paid by the hour from the region, we really wanted to have reliable things that is working. And I think we have been, the laydown is very few hours in this time. 21,000 running hours in this 6.5 years. That means more than 3,000 hours per year, which is quite a lot. And normal day, we are running 5 hours and then charging 2 hours and then running 5 hours more. And then we are fully charging over the night. Low maintenance cost, of course. The things that we have been changing now is all the chargers has been rebuilt. But otherwise, there are only small fuses or things that has broken. One good thing is that the driver knows that he has to drive very carefully because the fuel tank, the battery's capacity is limited. So he really knows that he has to really run the 5 hours, he has to run eco driving. And that is affecting also the other vessels. You can see when we have a captain coming from a diesel engine driven, he uses a little bit more. He has to learn to drive more eco-friendly, which is very good. And of course, with this vessel, everybody was very skeptical to have a very light vessel, as this is. Normally they say you should have a very heavy vessel to go in the ice, but in the ice conditions that we have in Stockholm, of course the vessel is reinforced in the rudders, the propeller shaft, the hull, so we can go in the ice condition. It has performed very well. We go up to 20 centimeters of ice, roughly, but preferably in the crushed ice. Next. Economy. After 21,000 hours, we have seen that the battery capacity has gone down 20% roughly, which is what the supplier estimated. So that means that in some time we have to change the batteries. We bought some extra batteries because we knew that we would have this loss. So the capacity we are using now was the one we calculated from the beginning. we are running the batteries from 100 down to roughly 20% of their capacity as it is now. Also, we run between 20 and 100, not lower. In the beginning, we run between 40 and 100. And of course, the capacity we have on board, there's no power enough on the shore, so we cannot supercharge the batteries. So that means that we have a limited operating time. As I said, about 5 hours. And also what we say is that there is a need of a guy in the office that is familiar with this new technology. It's not new in one way, but you have to have a different knowledge in the technology when one fuse breaks or something happens. And of course, we have much lower maintenance costs, as understandable. The big cost is the renewal of the batteries, which is much higher. The cost for that is much higher than the electricity we have used during these 21,000 hours. Next. And that's it. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gustaf, for your presentation.
And I can ask the question, answer the question of older ferries to convert them to electric. Well, it's always a question of how much energy you when you go out in the archipelago. The distances are very long, and the need for kilowatt hours is so high. So it's difficult to do it. But here in Stockholm water, where you use very little energy because you don't go so quick, it's easier maybe, of course, to modify them. But of course, also in the end, it's a question from the region, because going with the batteries are so expensive still. It's a question of cost, of course. And then we are not paying tax on the fuel, but on the electricity we are paying tax. I hope that is some sort of answer.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so different from, for example, Norway, where electricity is extremely cheap, and in Sweden you have the situation that this is a cost factor. Are there further questions? I'm observing the chat. Okay, maybe from my side about winter operation. One thing is, of course, that you have to go through the ice. You say it's a good ice performance. When it comes to the batteries and the charging, are there any? I mean, you can have heavy winters in Stockholm. Did you meet any challenges with this regard?
No, we saw no problem with that, because the battery room, the batteries are quite efficient, so we don't heat it up. It doesn't get so much warm, so the earth is not heating up so much. But the batteries, of course, we have to have them in. But the vessel is well insulated, and we take care of the losses in the chargers. We heat up the boat with those losses. So there's actually no extra challenge with concerning the winter.
Okay. Further questions, comments? Yeah, maybe one last question from me from my side before we go into the coffee break. Gustaf, if you could build her again, I don't know if you want to share this, because of course it's also a little bit of a business secret maybe from your side, but if you could build her again with the experiences of these 7 years of operation, so what would you change?
If I would change something? No, I think I would build. Of course, you want to build a vessel that maybe go a little bit have another hull shape so you can go a little bit faster, maybe 10 to 15 knots. But that's plus and minus how to do that. But also one challenge is that if we have a sea level that varies in Stockholm with plus minus 50 centimeters. So we have to have a gangway that is accessible both for going up or going down, because independent how the dock is. So if we would have floating docks instead, then we are docking 17 times in 1.5 hours. If you can save 1 minute on each docking, then you can save maybe 1 or 2 knots. So if you have floating docks, you can save this minute. But as it is now, where all the docks are looking different, and they are in the communities are building the docks, and the region is running the boats, and me as an operator is in between. So I can't do this. And also the ticketing is a problem. If you could have ticketing on the shore side, then you would save a lot of time in going on and going off the vessel. And the vessel itself, I think it's small changes. I mean, we built 3 more ships the same size now, but they are diesel electric, and they're more or less the same. Very small modifications.
You mentioned diesel electric. Do you still have something like auxiliary engine or a conventional one, or is this a fully electric vessel? Do you have something
the new ones?
Emergency? No, the Sjövägen. And
the Sjövägen, they are more or less emergency engines. So we're running electric 10 hours, but if we have a timetable that is 12 hours, then we run 1 or 2 hours with them on. We are charging the batteries with them.
Okay, so you are also allowed to go on diesel if it's needed in order to keep the timetable.
Yeah, exactly. But we run on HVO, and all the other vessels are T3 vessels on the diesel vessels. So we have the cleaning system on board.
Okay.
For exhaust gases.
Okay, are there further questions to Gustaf, Tobias, or Michael?